right, I think we managed to get it started. Let's see. We turn that volume down. And then I think the sound should be all right now. Oh wait, I haven't logged in here. Because of course, YouTube tells you that you have to log in every time you open OBS. Because that is very easy. Hello. We are not frazzled in the least from the day when we love to see technical difficulties. The Gmail for authentication. And then, yeah, no video, no, I think that should be fixed. It started with the microphone, which was being weird, and I thought it was the noise from the storm, but the storm doesn't seem too bad. And then I ran and fetched the other microphone that is much closer to me, and hello, I think it works now. Are we good? Are we? I think everything is finally green. Good evening. Good evening. That was more than I thought it was going to be. Usually these streams are pretty easy to set up. We use the microphone on the camera and then we go. And then the microphone wasn't working, and then I got the microphone working, and the picture from the camera wasn't working, so we had to reset everything. And don't you just love to see it? Love it. Technology, always having fun when you're least expecting it. Hello, hello, welcome everyone. Good evening, good time of day. Still having preserved this tiny corner of our workroom, the last thing to be packed on the list. The rest of the workroom is now just sad white walls and boxes and a tiny workstation on the work table with my desk and everything. So, but that's going to get packed after this, and then we go. It shows it's genuine live, yes. Oh yeah, for the technical issues, that is very true. Good point. I'm gonna have a relaxing drink, I think. Oh, cold matcha is lovely. We had some matcha powder from London, and I've been drinking it warm because that's what I learned, but in the heat where I've been enjoying cold iced tea, I thought, well, why not try cold matcha too? Not with milk or anything. Hello, madam. Just cold matcha powder with ice cubes and water, and it's so delicious. It's so refreshing. I love it. Definitely going to be making a lot more of that. But yes, the chaos definitely shows it's live. So hello everyone, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Slightly more chaotic live than we like to do, but such is life sometimes. Sometimes it's chaos and sometimes it's less. So I'm really glad we managed to do the live today, because we know for sure that I'm not going to manage next week because the movers will have been here, so we will have nothing but white walls and the floor, which will make for the challenge, but also we're going to be super exhausted. So next week definitely not, but so that today I'm glad that we managed. How soon will we be moving? The movers are coming next week, and then we have the weekend to clean, and then the 2nd we take over the contract. So then Thursday, I think, is the 4th or the 5th. Yeah, it's going to be the 5th. I'm hoping that we'll get the internet set up soon enough that we only skip one live stream, but I'm not sure. That might be a tad too optimistic, but you know, we'll see how things are when we get there. So it's a good... It's less than 2 weeks now until we will be in the new place. We get to paint the walls. So I hope that we will get some colors on the walls. I had I kind of dreamed about wallpaper because there are so many lovely wallpapers, but if I order wallpaper, that's gonna take a while to get here, and then that's gonna take a while to put up, and you have to be super, super accurate. So for the sake of getting the workroom back up and running again, so I can actually start working on videos again, because I haven't been able to work on videos almost all month, and I am not a fan. I really miss it. I really miss working on videos. We've just been packing, and we've both been, you know, flaring with our various chronic illnesses, so it's been hard. How do people do full-time jobs and pack up to move at the same time? Because moving is so much work. I cannot, but I really miss just chilling out, sitting at my desk, working on videos, sewing. So I really look forward to that. I hope things are gonna calm down in September. We're gonna get settled. We're gonna do something fun with the walls. Maybe, we'll see. We get to hang stuff up on the walls. We get to paint the walls. I hope it's gonna be good. Fingers crossed. If you've never tried cold genmaicha, I strongly recommend it. Oh yeah, genmaicha is lovely. That is the toasted rice one, isn't it? That is a lovely one. I used to have that. I haven't had that in my tea cupboard for a while. It's a good point, Lynn. I should put that on the list of something to reacquire again. We'll be patient as long as it takes. Thank you. I'm so glad. I feel really bad about not having been able to work on videos for a month. It's I want to be, but luckily you are a very patient community letting this happen. I have this one, the embroidery, but I thought I wanted to knit today if Madam will allow it. And then again, she is very cute on my lap, and she does find it a little bit distracting when I put stuff on her. Do you ever have that where, you know, your pet on your lap determines what kind of project you're working on? Because she is loving these lives, because she knows it means I will sit still for a while. And then she's been getting on my lap faster and faster every time, although she did explore after I emptied most of this cupboard and this sweater right here. Although Embla is actually lying, like, she chose, because Embla is an interesting child. Instead of the soft wool sweater, Embla is lying just off screen on the part of the cupboard that is, still has a door in front of it, on the hardwood shelf, rather than on the soft wool that I put just in frame, so maybe you could have a nice picture of a cat. But Embla says, no free screen time for you. You could get a sample piece of a wallpaper you like and put it in a poster frame so you can have the pretty pattern in the short term. That's a good one. We actually have some samplers. We hope to do some wallpaper in parts of the house, so we ordered some samples, so we're looking forward to that. Are you going to be friends in there, or is this going to turn into an interesting hissy fight? Please be friends. Can I entice you with some encouragement? Look here. Oh, I interrupted it. Look, it's in here. There you go. Oh, I broke it. I hoped to reward you to be good kitties in your each other's proximity, and instead I ruined the moment. Oh well. Would shorter videos help? Well, I've been trying, but they have some larger projects that I'm working on, so we shall see. But yeah, brain will get back to things, hopefully in time. Right now we're just focused on the move, and then we'll be in the new place, and then we'll see what I managed to do. Suddenly cats? Yes, always suddenly cats. Although they are a bit hard to see at the dark. What is this? A cupboard, wardrobe? It's not a wardrobe, but it will be difficult to see the black cats against the dark wood. But they are here, hanging out. Hey everyone, I'm choosing the thread to Lazy Daisies and staying away on a new to me blouse. That is a lovely project. I love how they were both completely invisible until he opened the jar. I know, right? They know the sound of the jar. Although, since I've been storing my snackies for the cats in the drawer here, they come running as soon as I open the drawer. They learn which sounds are associated with snacks so fast. It's hilarious and also really, really cute. So it is a bit more food motivated than Embla, but they both have some good high value snacks that they love. But if you are gonna hang out there, maybe we can do a little spot of knitting. It's gonna be disruptive today, aren't you? Are you gonna be calm and chill, or is this gonna be a day? Where are you over here? Go away. I'm very tired from going out, but I'm gonna do a little weaving. That sounds lovely. I have my little, I've changed from my usual work to-do list to having a moving to-do list, and I've checked quite a few items off today, so I'm quite happy with that. But definitely time to sit down and have a bit of a break. Not that we need to be productive in order to earn rest. Rest is something that we should have anyway, but that is a hard thing to internalize, isn't it? It's like something that we know in theory, but how good are we actually about internalizing it? That is the hard part for me, at least. Like, I know I shouldn't do the whole, we have to do the thing to earn the break. It's not supposed to be like that, but it's a very ingrained thing and a hard habit to break. So if people are curious, I'm working on my little As You Like It shawl. I started a new one almost immediately after I finished the video of the black one. So I have a couple of different patterns, a couple of, I don't know, Gothic arches. I really like the Gothic arches. It's a fun pattern and it's quite easy, and it also looks a bit like dragon scales, which I love. And then I've been doing some flowers, and now I'm just doing, I don't really know, miniature leaves, maybe a geometric pattern of some kind. That's how it is, isn't it? It becomes patterns of some kind. Like, I will knit it until I'm tired of it, and then I will find a new pattern and knit something else. I think we shall, these little rubber, okay, I love these though, they're pumpkins, and they're almost in season soon. Although I use them all year because I have these two and I love them. They're really cute. I'm gonna put them in my pocket because they are very nice kitty size, and I get the impression that things like that, like silicone, soft things, are very nice to chew on. So she will grab them if I leave my knitting out, which I can't do anyway because she will run away with my balls of yarn. Now where are we? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Ah, okay. I like patterns where I can see what's going on from just looking at it. I can't do that with all patterns, but I like it when I can. Now then. One, two, 1, 2. They're supposed to be there. So how's everyone doing today? We have been getting a spot of autumn weather this week, back to raining, which is very nice, very refreshing, you know, water for all the plants. It's been getting proper, if it's overcast, it's getting proper chilly in the morning too. It's spouse really likes all the windows open in summer, and you're getting to the point where it's like, oh, maybe we should close some of them at night because we're getting to the point where it can be a little bit cold in the morning when you get up. But it's also very nice and refreshing. I like this time of day. You're not late. This is completely like people drop in and out as they have time and moment for. It's not a... I know I don't do very long lives. Like I see some people stream for like 8 to 12 hours and I'm like, I could never. We stream when we have time and opportunity, but still people drop in and out. 2 hours can be a long time for people, especially if they have children. Or, madam, what are you finding in the bag of paper waste? It's very intriguing if it rustles. Rustling is the best. I'm also moving from student accommodation to a friend's spare room. Oh, that's lovely. So I'm use up all the fresh food soup. I'm doing the same thing. I've been trying to sort of eat weird foods, eating out of the freezer, eating opened things so that we use it up, eating just unhinged food to try to reduce. I mean, we've been giving a lot of food away to friends and family because that's what we usually do when there's just too much, because I like having a pantry or like a food stock of some kind. It's one of my, I don't know, growing up with not wealthy things where it's at least if I don't have money for food, I have enough dry goods in the pantry, in my cupboards that I can get by. It's one of those things where I just really like. It's a bit like having savings, isn't it? That having food in the cupboards keeps me calm so that I don't feel like that anxiety of what if we get a sudden bill and we can't afford to buy a lot of food, and then at least we'll have rice and beans and dry goods and things like that. And then when we move, it's too much that when especially this move came on us a little bit suddenly, so we've been giving away some stuff to friends and family and then trying to eat some of the stuff that's been in the freezer for some time. So I'm familiar with, unhinged food combinations because we do not like wasting food. It brings me very little joy to waste food. So that is not something that we like to do. Autumn is trying to start up here, getting some more rain and chiller mornings, but also tomorrow is 30 centigrade, so summer isn't willing to let go yet. I can see that. Whoosh. And we are about to have some ads, and if you are not familiar with this stream, we pause for ads. Don't worry. We have a sip of whatever drink we have of choice and we chill out, because if you get ads, you are supporting the channel, so I don't want to leave you behind. So don't worry, you don't miss anything. Air condition on 24 hours here in Southern California, so I'm looking forward to opening the windows as it gets cooler. Oh, I can imagine. That sounds harsh. I hope you are staying safe and at least you have air condition. Fall was approaching slowly, but no, still 30 degrees announced for tomorrow. Oof, yeah. It might be a fluke, like it might still get really warm. September can still be really warm, but at least right now it feels like it's getting chiller, and I for one am really enjoying it, and the plants are loving the rain. Although it isn't super good because the grain is getting ripe and a lot of it is falling in the field, which is not the best, but I hope a lot of it will be safe. I get that feeling completely. For me, if I don't have at least one big jar of peanut butter and a bag of rice, I start to go anxious. Yeah, and there are some foods where I like to have like some staple foods where I want to have the opened bag, and then as soon as I open sort of the unopened bag behind it, I will put it on the shopping list to go get a new one so that I never run out. like flour and sugar and rice and lentils and that kind of stuff. I'll always have like an unopened one waiting, so that when I use up the first one, I have the other one sitting there waiting for me. So it feels very nice to do it like that, of the stuff that we use a lot of. Having a stock of food is also good when you never know when you'll have a flare and be unable to go out or unable to properly cook for a week. Yes, very much so. We do have a stock of freezer foods for that reason, when we are like struggling to cook. Or I've talked about this before, but Spouse got me a multi-cooker for Yule last year, and I'd never had one of these things before. The most advanced we had in our home, and that you see in some Norwegian homes, is a rice cooker, but multi-cookers and crock pots and Instapots and that kind of thing never really took off in Norway. There was some news in the brouhaha because some pressure cookers, like the kind you put on the stove, exploded, I think, in the 70s or 80s, and then people got sort of really scared of them, so then that market kind of fell off in Norway and it never really became a thing. So they're just now coming back as they're getting safer. So they got me one of those, and in that one I can soak and cook beans without having to watch it. I can just put it on in the morning and come down to cooked beans for lunch, and I can have a full work day without having to worry about the stove. I can make bone broths, I can make soups, stews, porridge. I'm really liking it for that same reason, Lynn, that not only can it help me cook if I don't have a lot of spoons to stand on the stove, it can also make a larger batch of food that I can then put in jars and put either in the freezer or fridge and take up and reheat as needed. So that helps a lot as well. So I can make a big batch in the week and then just, eat leftovers when I'm working during the week. I personally really love that. It's, that really helps for me, but we all find different ways to support it. You gotta have at least a starch and a sauce at all times. Yeah, something like that, something to keep you full and something for flavor is really important. Hello, did I join at the end again? No, Alex, we just got started, although it was an interesting, we had multiple technical issues, so I had to restart multiple times and we were a bit delayed, but no, you are in good time. We are, at least I feel like we're just getting started, but it's been half an hour already. For me, a decent storage of food is just wise for everybody because surprises happen. Yes, there's a lot of things that can happen. What shall I call it? The Department of Society Safety, maybe, have been in the wind lately, and they recommend that you have at least enough food to feed yourself for at least 7 days before, getting aid of any kind if something was to happen, like a power outage or a flash flood or something like that. If you're left stranded and without electricity, like, you have to be able to maintain your health and everyone in your household with food and water and heat and blankets and firewood and stuff like that. If you have a wood firing stove or some other mode of keeping yourself warm for at least 7 days. Water is quite a challenge, and students do comment on this, that for students living in small student accommodations, that can be really difficult actually to have, especially the water, but also the food, because where do you put it? It's just not a lot of space when you live in a small room and have all of your stuff in a very small space. We are encouraged to have supplies for 7 days for your household in case of a huge earthquake. Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. It's that maybe that is standard other places as well. Yeah, the lamp is a bit fragile. I'm not sure how to make the connection a little bit more secure so it stops doing that whenever it shakes, but oh well. So it jumped on the table and the lamp got a bit moody. That cooker sounds really handy. Yeah, I've been finding it really handy. I've never had one, so it's been you know how if you get a kitchen appliance and you're unfamiliar with it, if you don't really make that investment in the beginning of learning how to use it, it ends up just living at the back of the cupboard, never getting used. So I really tried to like learn different ways of using it, different ways of cooking with it, so that I actually start thinking of it as a natural thing that I can use. I've also learned like you can steam things in it, so you can do traditional like Asian steamed eggs, which is a great breakfast item with soy sauce and sesame oil. I love it. And you can also use the same technique but with milk and sugar and make caramel pudding, or like which I love. I think it's really, really tasty. When I make it like that, I don't put a layer of hard caramel on the bottom like I would for if I was making it in the oven, but then I just pour the caramel sauce on top after, and it's so fast compared to steaming it in the oven. It's so easy. So yeah, there was a period of time where I was making so many little puddings because it was just so easy, and it's one of my favorite desserts. Honestly, the prep is the worst part. Once it's ready to go on the stove, most of the work is done. Yeah, that is true. Frozen veg really helps me there. Sometimes I just do the sort of where I just dump rice and lentils and frozen veg in the pot, in the multi-cooker, and I just put it on for an hour, and I come back and there's hot food, and I'm just like, yes, frozen veg, save me from the prep when it's really low on spoon stay. In Finland, it's for just 3 days, except at least meds and some other things for 7 days. I still think 7 days is better. I suppose it depends on where you are. Like some places get aid faster than others. And some meds you can't have more than a month at a time either, so that's also challenging. If you are not allowed to keep supplies because they're, protected meds or something. But yeah, preparedness is helpful, and dry lentils and rice is so easy to store and so easy to cook. Yeah, I know the snackies are in there, madam, but we don't have self-service of the snackies. I know, it's terrible. Yeah, I know. But we don't get snackies when we try to serve ourselves. Oh, baby. Max is making a glove. That sounds really cool for sickle cell awareness for next month. That sounds really awesome. Madam, do not eat my needle binding needle, kindly. I know it's wood and you like to chew on things, but do I have to hide this? I will hide it in here. That does not mean you get snackies right now, because you are being tenacious, as you'd like to be. I'm sure they will turn out really lovely, Max. They sound great. Lovely with some gloves and nice burgundy red. Hello. Have you slept all day? So now you're full of mischief, huh? Hello, Kristine. Hello, everyone. Hello, Lee. Welcome. What do you store? It's not something done here, and I wonder how you manage perishables. Well, I wouldn't include perishables in the stockpile, like fresh food. Well, veg I store in winter, like potatoes and carrots can store quite well in a pantry if you just keep them in the dark, like cool and dry. They really love that, or in a pot of dirt. But if I can't do that, if I don't have access to a pantry that will store food in the way that I like to store food, I do a lot of fermented vegetables, sauerkraut, kimchi, things like that. You may get tired of the flavor after a while, but at least it keeps you with veg, and it preserves it preserves the vitamins really well. They also have freezer, but I mean, if the electricity is out, you have to use the frozen veg straight away or it goes bad. So that is kind of how I try to deal with vegetables. But I mean, if there is an emergency, then you gotta have any kind of food to keep you full is a good thing. So my go-to for starches and protein is rice and lentils, because they're easy to store and easy to cook, and I cook with them anyway. That is another thing, because if it's something that you don't really usually eat, it just ends up going bad, because lentils and rice, people think it lasts forever, but the nutritional content does go down if you store it for years and years and years. So I try to have stockpiles of things that I use regularly, so I'm constantly replenishing the stock, and then it's also easier if something happens, because it's food that I'm used to eating, so it's nothing new. That can also help, so it feels familiar. And but canned food is also a way to get vegetables that is very useful. But I really like the flavor of fermented food, so that is one of the things that we do, is keeping a couple of jars of fermented food in the pantry, so that we have vegetables. They still shelf stable for so long. It's pretty cool. It's really amazing. I really like learning old preservation techniques like drying and fermentation, because it's so cool how much you can store without a fridge. I am really fascinated by food history and food storage, food safety, using up everything, resource efficiency. I just think that is super interesting and a lot of fun. And I always like to play around with different ways of, making vinegars from scraps, and drawing out foods and herbs from the garden, and just having fun with it. That's a missed stitch. What are you doing there? Kindly get back on the needles, madam. I'm considering buying some Swedish books for Multicooker Instant Pot, because there are none in my language. Indeed, not a common item here. Yeah, same in Norway. I didn't know there were Swedish books. That is interesting. I've just been Googling around and kind of playing with it. My biggest grief is that the instruction manual didn't tell you, like, it's sporting a bunch of different buttons, like for soups and stews and porridges and rice, and what else is there? Steaming. Many different settings, but in the instruction manual it doesn't tell you what the different settings do. Like, I've learned that soup is a much harder boil than porridge, which is a much softer boil, but they don't tell you this. I would like this kind of information. Like, when it says slow cooker, it doesn't tell me what temperature it is, and it doesn't tell me if it's low, medium, or high, which slow cookers usually have a low, medium, and high setting for different degrees that it is slow cooking at. So it doesn't tell me what kind of slow cooking it's doing. It just tells me it's slow cooking. It doesn't tell me what temperature it's boiling porridge at. It just tells me porridge. And that bothers me, because I like to know and not just experiment. I might have to pull out my thermometer and check out what is really going on, and might make some notes, because I like knowing exactly what it's doing. Hello from the Netherlands. Hello, Anya. Welcome. We are talking food and multi-cookers and preparedness for some reason today, which is, I find, really, really interesting, and a subject of, that can be very challenging, especially if you're in a city where there's very limited space. Often easier for people in rural areas, like where I am right now, right just before we're moving, have a lot more food around and a lot more room to grow food in as well. Hello, it's been a while since I could make one. Well, welcome, Lily. I hope you are having a good time, maybe making something fun or cozy. Onions, if you string them up, and dried spices too. Yes, dried spices are so important, and like flavors. Flavors are really important, because bland food can get really, really depressing to eat. If I store dry rice and lentils for more or less a year, I'll find moths in all stages in the Italian thing. I don't have that problem, but I make sure that I store my rice and lentil in airtight containers. I don't leave them out in the open. No starches really, because I don't have so much problems with moths here, but there is this beetle, weevil, I'm not sure what they're called in English, but it likes flour, like wheat flour. And if you are not cautious with hygiene, you can end up with, you know, seeing a lot of tiny little beetles in your flour when you go to bake. So that is not a good thing. So we try to be good about that kind of thing. So like I have a big box where the bags of lentils are stored, and then when I open one of them, I will pour it into a little glass jar that lives in the pantry shelf, so that is airtight, and then I close it up with a little clippy, and then it goes back in the plastic box so that it stays safe and stored far away from the little pests that might want to eat the food as well as I do. So that is not a problem I have been having, but it's a very different climate in Italy, so it might be a very different challenge that you are facing. Sympathies anyway, that is no fun. Our stock of whole rice, lentil, chickpea, and quinoa really saved our behinds during the global event. Yay for growing up food insecure, I guess. Yeah, it's that thing, isn't it, where if you grow up in interesting conditions, you are really calm during crisis because you prepared for it, whereas if things are good, you kind of don't know what to do about yourself. So it's metal with a backside, very much so, not something that you want to happen. But we are about to have some ads, so let us hydrate and make sure to stay hydrated. But yeah, challenging pasts and challenging childhoods are no fun, and the trauma associated is definitely a thing that needs to be worked on and can lead to some bad mental patterns that you try to fight with. But at the same time, as you're pointing out, it does lead to, you know, that kind of preparedness thinking where you're like, I want to have food and make sure that I have food, because that makes me feel like I have savings in the bank, because it is a form of savings in the bank. It keeps you safe. So I can definitely understand that kind of thinking, although it's kind of sad that there are many of us who are like that for that reason. But silver linings, I guess, maybe. I don't have a multi-cooker, but I've been experimenting over the summer with cooking various things in the rice cooker because I can leave it on the front step outside. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of TikToks and stuff of people doing that, and I love it. That's one of the things I've been finding inspiration in, that it's really helpful with all the cool things that they cook, and it really makes me realize that I too can cook and steam and like do things, cook multiple things at the same time, which is really cool. I love it. Well, I am sorry that the food talk is exacerbating some RFID problems, man. Glad Hatter, I hope you stay safe and well. Hope you have a good rest of your day, rest of your time. I've also had the sawtoothed grain beetles. They eat any dry food. I see, even spices. And one female with eggs can survive for a very long time, so no real option for tight containers. Interesting. That is quite fascinating, but also quite like, these things are important to learn about, and I don't remember learning much about it in school. Although we did have cooking class. But I do hope everyone is staying safe, or as safe as we can be. A lot of people having a lot of weather events, which is not the best. There we go. think I did a little mistake in the beginning here. Let's just fix that real quick. One, two, and then here's my thread, and that means I should have one here. There we go. Yeah, I'm not going to pick my way all the way back there, but at least we can sort of sneakily address the issue from the other side. There we go. It's almost getting to the time where these shawls are natural again, and everyone making cozy autumn knits of various kinds. There are so many. I just love the colors that pop up when autumn rolls around, and you know, all the Instagram feeds and what have you get filled with the rust and the browns and the green and the red, and it's just a lovely, just a warm and cozy and lovely palette. Like, I just want to live with it, live in it all year around. It's super attractive. It just seems like people are having so much fun in autumn, you know, with fall and pumpkin decorations and leaves going red and pumpkin soup and kitties playing with the leaves when they come into the catio, and then snoozing a lot because it's getting chilly again, which is very nice. We do put moth traps in our pantry every year, but yes, they find their way also into new packages. Oh, that's scary. I have never had that happen. That is terrifying. That sounds like a real hassle to deal with. I do not envy you that. That sounds, yeah, things I had not considered, but that makes sense that further south, like, you have more insects and things to take care of. So I hope you manage to stay safe somehow. It sounds like you're doing what you can about it, really, but I should really make sure that I store my woolens well, because we do have wool moths, but I haven't heard about wool moths getting into the food, so I do wonder if that might be something that is a further south problem. But we do definitely have the wool moth, and that is something that, you know, old household manuals people really feared, because they can do so much damage before you realize what they're doing. It can be really, really terrifying. But there we have the same kind of advice, like either air it out and keep it in bright light regularly and check your wools often, or store them in really tight containers, like really tightly woven cloth was the recommendation I saw, because then the wool can breathe but the moths can't get in. So I'm interested how these food moths get in. They have to be really, really tiny for them to be able to either lay their eggs or get into things, because I haven't heard of that being a problem with the wool moth, but I have very little experience with that kind of pest. We have been very, very lucky, knock on wood, that it hasn't been a problem yet, but it's definitely something that I want to think about when we set up. The new workroom might be getting a large mirrored wardrobe that we have here, that has been living in our bedroom, but it won't fit in the new bedroom. It's the bedroom that we're putting where we're sleeping. It's going to be very small. It's going to be the smallest room, so that we get nice big work rooms to actually work in, because that's where you spend the majority of your waking hours. It's going to be where you work and not where you sleep. Millennial priorities. And it used to be in our bedroom, but it doesn't fit there in the new place. So we might end up putting it in my workroom if it fits there. In which case I will have my wools and a lot of stuff in there. And then that is definitely something to think about in terms of putting lavender and other moth protective devices to make sure that it doesn't become a very attractive place to lay eggs, because we don't want that. You can lay eggs outside, preferably elsewhere. And not in the clothes we have worked so hard to sew or knit or weave or any of those things. Oh, one day we'll have a loom. Maybe. They do take up so much space. They need their own bedroom just to set it up because they are also so dusty. And I'm not sure we're ever gonna have such a big house that we have room for that, but we shall see. For now I have the rigid heddle looms and the card weaving looms, and that is enough for now because they are very small and portable and fit in my workroom. It's one of the reasons I really like small crafts or crafts that don't take up a lot of space, because that means that I can fit quite a lot of crafts in my little workroom. Whereas if you have crafts that look like a lot of fun, like woodworking, like I always really admire the people doing blacksmithing or lathe work, like woodworking on the turning pole on Viking markets and historical markets. You know, they have the foot pedal with the string powered wood lathe, and they're making bowls and plates and cups, and it looks like so much fun. But the equipment for both the lathe and the, you know, blacksmithing work is so large by comparison. Like where would you put it in an apartment in the city? Where would you do that? So for now I still have my small crafts that can actually fit. It's a habit from being a student where, you know, you had a small room and things had to fit, and when you moved you had to be able to bring it with you in one of the 2 suitcases you could take on the airplane. But now I feel like things have expanded quite a bit since then. Any tips on blocking knits for a beginner? Using household items would be great so I don't have to buy more supplies. It depends on the purpose of your blocking. I usually like to block knits just to let the knit rest. I don't do a whole lot of stretching, which you can do to make it even softer and like fluffier. But what I do when I block things, if I don't want to stretch it, I just want to let the stitches even out, because that's the thing, right? When you're knitting, the stitches can be a bit uneven from one row to the next. So I just put it in a bath. We don't actually have a bathtub, but I have a large plastic box, and I fill it with warm soapy water, something gentle. We have wool-friendly laundry detergents in Norway that are easy to get. I also use handmade soap, you know, cold processed, unscented, just completely plain soap that I've made and cured. That works really well. And then I let the wool knit, I completely submerge it and make sure that there's a lot of space. Like when you're dyeing, you know, you can use either a really big pot or a big vat or a bathtub if you have one, and just let the wool have enough space to like really fill the tub and spread out, and just rest there, and then let it sit for 10 minutes, half an hour. It's not really super bad if you let it sit for longer. If you forget about it, like it's all right, but at least 10 minutes, but 30 minutes is really nice. That just lets the stitches relax, and then I just wring it out, and you know, you empty the water, you squish out the water gently, and I rinse it a couple of times in clean water to get all the soap out. And then I take a large towel and I place it on the floor, and I put the knit in between, and I place the other half like over it, and then I step on it to get out again a lot of the water. And then that towel is going to be completely soaked, because wool can hold an impressive amount of water. And when I have sort of gotten the first towel really, really wet, a really thick one, I take that towel and I hang it up, and then I take a second towel and I sort of drape my wool knit in the shape that I want it to be on that towel. And at least right here where we are right now, we have a central heating system where there is underfloor heating. We're not going to have that in the place we're moving to, so I'm not sure how we're going to do that there, but I just leave it on the heating cables, and inevitably soot will find it and snuggle up against it, because wet wool is the best for some reason. They love wool to begin with, but wet wool is even better. I don't know why, but I just let it rest then on that second towel and let it dry completely in the shape that I want. And that is the important thing, that you want to let it rest where in the shape that you want it. So spend some time, you know, to get the wrinkles out and stretch it if you want to. And at this stage, you could, like Luxler is saying, that they use their bed and sewing pens. If you want to stretch it, that's a good alternative, because sometimes you want to stretch it to the size that you want it. Usually I just let it rest where it wants to be, and that's kind of that. When I did this As You Like It shawl, I had my drying rack outside because it was summer, and I just used clothes hooks. I draped a lot of clothes hooks around the edges, and that was enough gentle weight to pull it and make sure that all the, you know, rolled up edges like this one has. It's hard to see it here, and it's not super bad, but it has an edge that kind of wants to roll up on itself. It'll be even worse when I cast it off, and you can help that sort of thing by blocking it and making sure that you pull that out. And in my case, I put on clothing hooks. No, not hooks. Clothing pins. So that the edge stayed straight, and then when it dries straight and stops that rolling. So that is one way that you can do that. But a bed is a good suggestion. Just make sure that, you know, everything dries out properly. But yeah, you don't need a lot of equipment to block a wool garment. It's really, really simple. The most important is just the warm water and some wool-friendly soap, and just letting it rest. Just leave it like half an hour is great. I've heard people talk about an hour, but at least 10 minutes in the warm water to just let the stitches relax. And then some way to make it dry flat in the shape that you want it is really all you need. So I hope that helps. Good luck. It really makes it's not something I started doing until I was an adult. We never did that when I learned to knit as a child, but I really hope that that it turns out well. It really helps with the initial itching that you can have with a new wool item that may put some people off, because they're like, no, I can't wear wool because it itches so much. But I found that when something is freshly knit and you pull it on, it will itch terribly unless you block it, and then it'll take a couple of wears for it to stop itching, which can be really uncomfortable. Whereas if you just block it, you will get past that initial itchy phase a lot faster. So for your own comfort, if you find that wool itches, try blocking it first and see if that helps. It can be really nice. And you can also re-block it. I mean, you're washing it. If your wool gets dirty and you need to wash it, you'd do the same thing. You would put it in warm soapy water and sort of squish at it to try to get the dirt out. So then you would re-block it because now it's wet again. So you can do that as well if it gets out of shape. You can just do it again. And Lily as well saying, I blocked things using safety pins and my mattress for lace. Not perfect, but it worked out. Yeah, I can see that. That's a really good tip. It's a really large, useful thing for that. Absolutely. Rachel is blocking a jumper eventually and some knit socks. I will try not to stretch these the best I can. Yeah, it depends on the pattern, what they want you to be and what you want the result to be. But if you don't need to stretch it too much, then you can just lay it to rest in the shape you want it on a towel and let it dry naturally when you're done. So good luck. I really hope that works and that you are really happy with the end result of your hard work. It's a lot of fun when it comes out in the final shape and you fasten all the threads. The jumper needs to be laid flat, maybe padded a bit. Yeah, it really helps. Sometimes I sort of fold the arms in a little bit if it's like, because a jumper split out with the arms out takes up a lot of space. So sometimes I will sort of fold the arms gently in on the sides, just make it take up a little less space. But yeah, it's still very much doable, and you can leave it on drying rack or the floor or something like that. And we are about to have ads, so hydration break. Is it a kitty break time too if we're having an ad break? Let's see. Where's me bad camera, my web camera? Boop. Kitty! just slightly aggravated tail, just a tiny bit, for having the wool next to her that is moving. It would be fine if the wool was just keeping still, so that Madam could rest. And also we must keep a watchful eye on the other baby. What if Embla is doing something mischievous? What if she's up to no good and you aren't paying attention to it? That would be an atrocity. We've made Embla a blanket fort of moving boxes, and then we've put a blanket in between the boxes so that it makes a tent, and she loves it. She's been sleeping there so much. It's really adorable. I swear I do watch these trousers. They're just very easy to wear when we are working and moving boxes around, because I'm not too worried about them. If they get stained or dirty or broken, that's alright. We're moving again. Hope it's a happy movie. Yeah. I know, right? We moved 2 years ago, and that was the thing. That was exhausting. That was an 8-hour move. For reasons of hope. We hoped for something, and then that didn't really turn out to be reality. It was a hope, and then various other events transpired, and now we're moving back where we moved from 2 years ago. So it's another 8-hour move. And we did the math, because the first time we moved with trailers and we got rid of all our furniture and we tried to move as lean as possible, so we did all the moving ourselves. But it turns out that, especially for an 8-hour move, it's or like 8-hour drive, it's over 500 kilometers. It's actually quite expensive to do it yourself, because not only is it the time you spend on the road, but it's also the gas and the tolls and the food and the weeks you spend being in between houses that you could be working, that you could be doing other stuff. So it turned out to be quite expensive. And then we did the math and compared it to getting some estimates from moving companies, and it turned out that it was actually cheaper, even though it seems, more expensive because it's a big bulk payment up front rather than many smaller expenses over weeks that you're doing the driving. But not even taking, hourly rates of if we were paid as employees for doing the moving, not even taking that into account, just the gas and the tolls and stuff like that. It turned out to be about the same or more expensive than getting an estimate and hiring a moving company to come and take our stuff, including a fair bit of the furniture, which is nice because it was quite exhausting to live out of boxes for months while we slowly accumulated furniture. So I look forward to having a lot of the furniture. The only thing in the workroom that we got rid of was the desk that I work on, because I want a desk where I can fold up my legs and sit cross-legged underneath, and I couldn't do that because I had these cute drawers. I really love the look of it, but I couldn't sit the way I wanted, and that is kind of important when you're working. So now I want to just get a simple table of some kind where I can sit in all the various ways that my legs want to sit so that they don't hurt. And then have some sort of shelving system on the side, but we're keeping the work table, we're keeping this cute little table, we're keeping the chair and this very useful thing right here that we all got secondhand. Spouse has got me a new sewing table that is super, super cute, and I really love it. It's already been picked up where we are moving in Trondheim. It's not the most convenient sewing table, but it's really pretty. I can't wait to show you because it's round and instead of having drawers underneath, you lift the tabletop, and there are these little drawers, or not drawers, but like little boxes with lids inside, so it's for storing your sewing stuff. So it's not the most convenient, because usually you will have stuff on your table, and having to, you know, remove all the stuff to lift the lid is a little bit, but it is so pretty. I think it'll fit in really nicely. So I'm hoping that it will be good, and that the idea is that we will stay here for quite a while. The only thing this place is missing that I think is a bit sad is that it's missing a garden. It doesn't have, like, there is a porch where we're hoping we can put a little catio. Ideally the whole porch, depending on, you know, what the rules for outside space is, but we are hoping that we can just put a cat safe net around the whole porch, and the cats can just run around, and we can have some outside planters and stuff like that. But it doesn't have that. That is not something that we could sort of, 2 workrooms was more important for each of us. But we're hoping that we stay there until maybe one day we can afford something with the garden. Fingers crossed. We shall see, maybe one day. But right now the idea is to stay here for quite a while, so I'm hoping this will be a nice stable workroom where we can do a lot of videos together and have fun and do lives, and yeah, have a good time. Made avocado toast. Am I a real millennial yet? Depends on if you have a house or not. Yeah, I love avocado toast. It's tasty. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be a real millennial about that. I haven't had it in, gosh, when did I have it last? Because avocado be pricey and has ethical issues surrounding it with drug cartels and stuff. But it's so tasty. Avocado is so good. I can't remember the last time I had a proper avocado toast. It would have been years ago. But I still support it. Yes, it's very good. I do love me a good avocado toast. Maybe I should make that. Celebrate moving back to Trondheim. Maybe I will have an avocado toast party when we get there. Buy a little bit of avocado and a toaster and go to town, I guess, making it at home. I'm glad you said that about a desk. It's because I'm currently on the market for a desk and didn't take that into account. I rarely even ever sit with both feet on the ground. Yes, same. That is not something I considered either. I just saw this was a really cute desk, and it was old and it was used and secondhand, and I was like, this looks cute and I want it. And then it turns out that I can only sit with my legs straight and my feet on the ground, which is not how I like to sit. And I also like to sit, like, get really close up to the desk, having like the desk all the way up against my stomach and sit and work. I like that kind of safe feeling. That I've always done that since I was a kid, and I can't do that with this one either because my thighs are in the way, so I can't get as close to it as I want. So yeah, I'm gonna look for something that is just a plain table with nothing underneath it, so there's room for my legs to do all the shenanigans, and that I can sit all the way underneath it very comfortably. And then hopefully look for a chair with the same features where I can actually sit cross-legged. Cross-legged chairs are not a thing in Norway, so I'll have to, I don't know, zhuzh something up and see what I can make work. But that is the idea. I really like moving my legs around. It really helps blood flow and stuff like that, and my concentration. So it's going to have to be shelves and other storage solutions for like paperwork and pens and whatever else have you. But yeah, I'm not surprised that I'm not the only one. And I didn't consider this when I got it, which is why we got it. And then I was like, oh, but I have it, so I'm not going to change it. But now we're getting rid of it and finding something that will hopefully work better. Fingers crossed. So exciting. I hope your new home and table are wonderful. I hope so too, and be fairy. I really do. I'm really looking forward to it. And we get to paint the walls, which I'm really excited about. So probably some kind of green. Talking about millennials and avocado toast, it's probably going to be some sub-season of green. We're playing with the idea of multiple seasons of green, but we shall see what we make do. I do kind of want to get the workroom up and running as quickly as possible, so I don't want it to be too detailed because I want to set stuff up and get back to work. It's been forever since I just had a work week and I really miss it. So hoping. Only if your avocado toast has everything bagel seasoning on top. That is not a thing in Norway. What is everything bagel seasoning? I've heard about it, but I'm not sure what spices are in it. I just usually put salt and pepper, maybe some lemon juice. Like Lynn is saying, you just put lemon juice and soy sauce on the avocado. Oh, that sounds delicious. I must try that. I really like just salt and pepper. Also avocado toast, and tomatoes is really tasty. There were some other things. Yeah, cherry tomatoes are, when they're in season in summer, are really delicious. And then just plain salt and pepper is really, really good. For people who like to sit cross-legged, have you considered a kotatsu? If you can sit on the ground. I haven't tried it. I've been curious about it, but I'm a bit nervous to commit to it since I haven't tried working at it for 8 hours a day. It'll probably be good for the hips and everything because you kind of get used to it. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it. And I would have a hard time finding furniture, although I could just saw the legs off something and make that work. But I do like my floor troll time. It's always nice to be sitting on the floor. What are we doing now? This one, all right. They look so nice though. There are so many pretty ones. I also really love what are they called? The Japanese carpentry, the storage shelves. They're so intricate and so beautiful, and they're so expensive when they're handmade because they so deserve it. They're just gorgeous, and they're so pretty. I can't remember the name though, but they are amazingly stunning. Like they have some sewing boxes and stuff. Oh, they are glorious, so pretty. See, it's probably an American seasoning. It's a mix of seasoned seeds, seasoned seed? Is it sesame seeds? Oh yeah, sesame seeds, you did make the correction. Poppy seeds, garlic, salt, and other things. That sounds delicious. Oh, that does sound really good. Sesame seeds, poppy seeds, and garlic. Yeah, can definitely see that working really well on avocado toast. Definitely something to try. I don't have the space for a kotatsu or the climate-controlled inside for it to be usable year-round. I love sitting on the floor though and under desks. Yes, definitely love that. Floor space is good. I hear people talk about you should be careful about sitting on the floor when you're over 40 or something because one day you'll not get back up. But you look at people in countries where it's common to sit on the floor and they just sit on the floor their whole life and they don't have a problem. You have senior citizens who have no problem with it. So I think it's a habit thing, so long as you do it often and keep your body used to it, I don't think it's a problem. So yeah, get floor time. It's probably good for something. Maybe the hips, maybe just the mood in general. Sometimes I just I don't know, did you ever do this as a kid? Sometimes I would want to move my pillow to the bottom of the bed just to get a change of scenery, feeling. just change it up a little bit. I don't know. You have limited control over what you can and can't do as a child, so even small things like that can feel like you're actually making a decision and changing something when you have very limited power and control. And that can be nice sometimes, to just change it up. we millennial Americans like to put it on everything. Well, you get some of those spices, don't you, that are really lovely. It's nice when you find those things that you just like to put on everything. I will put soy sauce on a whole lot of things. I just love that, but don't think that is big millennial thing. It's just a I love salt thing. I think it's the opposite. Sit on the floor as long as you can. Yeah, exactly. I have lost that flexibility. Oh, I'm sorry. That is frustrating. But yeah, do movement as long as you can rather than telling yourself that you can't, because maybe you'll keep it for a long time. I used to sit and sleep on the floor all the time, but now it's impossible. Yeah, it's so frustrating when those things happen, when you sort of lose a range of motion that you used to have. Like I don't know, I could do bridges when I was a child where, you know, you take your legs and your arms and you push and you arch and your head is upside down. I have not done that in years. I don't think I still have that skill. I should definitely get back to doing that. I used to try to do yoga with Adrian in the morning a long time ago, and that was one of the things that really helped with my migraines. Like, it really helped with tension headaches and neck pains, which can really trigger a migraine. And when I was good about it, it really helped. I haven't been good about it in a while. I really should get back to doing that, and it's free, which is always appealing, and I can do it from my house. And she has a very big range of capability levels, which is nice. That is something I'm going to try to get back into when we move. Fingers crossed. I hope the living room is big enough that I can do it in front of the television in the morning, because that was one of the things that really helped loosen some of the stiff muscles in the neck that I have, that can be a big trigger when things are getting stressed. Sometimes no kind of exercise can fix actual damage and disability. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Like, this is not a have you tried yoga for that podcast live. No. Absolutely not. Just because it has helped for me does not mean that I'm going to push it on anyone else. Like, that is just not how we're going to do that kind of things. It helps for some things, not all of it. I still get migraine triggers from other things. Like, let's just be completely clear. It absolutely does not eliminate all of my migraines. It's just those that get triggered by my stiff neck muscles and tensions. They don't stop the hormonal migraines. They don't stop the light-induced migraines. They don't stop stress-induced migraines. So, but a small subset. You know, it did help with some of them. But yeah, this is not a have you tried this for that disability kind of thing. Like, sometimes things just are difficult, and that is also all right. Like, people talk about having to grieve the person you lost when you have a disability, because you really do lose a part of yourself that you used to have access to. Like, I used to love going to the beach as a kid. I loved to swim. It's not something, last time I tried to do it, I had a very impressive migraine. It was really high up there, 11 out of 10. I almost fell off my bike getting home because I couldn't see, but I just wanted to get home. Because if you're not aware, like, when you have a body of water, you get twice as much sunlight, and sunlight is one of my big triggers. Because you have the sun up there, and then it's also the water reflecting it back at you. And I had just gotten these glasses, and I hoped they were magic, and I was kind of pulling a little bit too far, seeing how much they could take, and they definitely could not take a trip to the beach with my friends. So that is something that I don't do anymore, that I guess I stopped thinking about it, but it is a small loss in a way, because it used to be something that I really enjoyed as a kid. And now it's something that I have kind of stopped doing. You know, you just kind of naturally, I guess, shrink your life to a size of what works best for your health, which is different for everyone. And it can be very subtle. It can be something that you don't really notice until you sit back and you think about it, and then you go, oh yeah, I guess I do spend a lot of time inside, because being outside can be really painful. Although I would love to garden and go for walks, and I try to go for walks, but sometimes I just can't because I can feel that it's going to be a day. And I don't even have, very debilitating stuff, I don't think, like compared to what I see a lot of other people struggle with. Not that we are comparing, but I still have all 4 limbs and can do a lot of stuff. But yeah. I'm sitting on my old First 80 balance chair just now, free legs and spine. I recommend it. Cool. I have been looking at the various balance stuff and like the standing sitting. We had a really good one in a lab that I worked at, and I asked the person who bought it where it came from, and they managed to remember, even though it was years ago. But when I checked their website out, they didn't have that model anymore, because I really wanted to get one. It looked really nice. So we will see what shows up. I am curious. Note to self, check your phone battery when planning to listen to the live cast during a walk. That happens, yeah. I hope you're still safe and that you managed to get to a battery charger at some point. Well, I wasn't talking about your migraine things. I'm glad you have ways to relieve them. Yeah, no. I didn't think about that. It's just that is kind of the disability that I have, so that is kind of the frame in which I can look at other stuff. So don't worry about it. I don't, and I'm not trying to make it all about me either and my migraines. I know a lot of other disabilities exist. That is just the one that I can talk about and talk to. Whereas others, I wouldn't be able to talk with any kind of authority. So it's just kind of the lens that I try to extrapolate to other disabilities and sort of talk about it in general terms, but that is my framework, so that's going to be the one that I'm grabbing because I know it more intimately than I could talk to like other things like immunocompromised conditions. I can't really talk about because I don't have that experience myself. But it's not meant to be look at me and my migraines. It's this is the way in which I can show compassion towards others with disabilities. I hope, at least, sort of by finding similarities and on shared ground in some ways. Yeah, exercise doesn't help everything, but it can help prevent formerly able persons from being unable to get back up. Yeah, it's a balance, isn't it? Because we know that exercise can be helpful for a lot of things, but it does not cure everything, and it's a balance, It can be challenging, so don't worry about it. Like we all try our best, and when we get called out, we try to be gracious about it, because we will get called out, and I think that is healthy. Like telling someone in a respectful manner that that might not have been the best way of phrasing. I think that can be really helpful, because I don't strive to be perfect. I don't think we can. No one is perfect, and no one is above scrutiny, which is something that I find really, really important. That I'm not above scrutiny. Like no one is above scrutiny. Like if you have an issue with something I did or said, like you are welcome to raise that with me in a respectful manner. If someone yells that you're awful and you're bad and you should feel bad, I'm probably less likely to take your feedback to heart. But if we just talk to each other, respectfully from one human being to another, then we are going to make mistakes, and hopefully we learn from them and move on from them. That is, I think, the biggest skill, habit, I don't know. The one skill that I really want to keep above all else is like staying teachable and staying, open to new viewpoints, because with that you can learn anything, which I love learning new things. Hey baby, are you not finding the right spot? And with hyperflexibility, you need to exercise to manage the flexibility even when old. Yeah, that can be a whole thing. And keeping the muscles, I know with hyperflexibility, you also have the risk of joints popping out. So you need to make sure that you have enough muscle mass that it sort of pushes things back where they are supposed to be. So you're slightly less likely to have that. So yeah, it's an interesting world out there. And it's so fascinating to learn about the body and medicine, and how many amazing things the body does, and how little like it takes for something to change and happen. If I feel depressed or have neurological issues, the best thing to do for me is to go out in nature with my dog. Yeah, so sad to hear this isn't a universal experiment. Yeah, I love going out in nature. It's so healing, like no headphones, no nothing, just go out there and look at the forest and the trees. And I do love my morning walks when I can manage. I try to change them to midday walks in winter when it's too dark out, both in the morning and in the evenings. And then I try to do one for lunch, and I do love those. I would look for places with nature, because same, even in the city, I'm looking for parks and trees and bushes and grass, and it's so lovely. It's the best. It gives you that breathing room in your day that can be so valuable for, you know, getting rest that actually restitutes you, not just I personally really love that. My trigeminus is starting to act up. Oh no, that is really bad. I hope you are gonna have a good or a better night tonight, Tian. So good luck. Best of hopes. What is that in your fur, madam? Is that just a piece of food that is stuck? I wish I could show you this completely relaxed madam getting chin scritches upside down, but if I move, so will she. Pets are so precious. Yeah, your bum is sliding out. Would you like some help with that? Yeah, I sit outside every morning for breakfast because it's coolest in summer, and I'm gonna miss my morning routine come winter when it's too cold. Yeah, when it changes so much, it's kind of difficult. Like, you try to build a routine, and like, I'll do this by this in the morning, and then when winter comes around, it's so dark that I find that I have to change my routine a little bit to accommodate for the lack of light, because it's just not the same. Like, I try to still go out for walks, and it's dark, and it's not the same. And if there are no lights in the forest, that can be, you know, difficult, and headlamps are a hassle. So then it's nice to just change it to later in the day, even though that means you have to change other parts of the routine. But yeah, there are some routines that are easier when it's milder outside and less work to get dressed, with all the winter layers and all the hats and coats and all the everything. Being able to go out at all again has been life-changing, honestly. Yeah, it really, really is. And it can be so, like, you really notice it when you're stuck inside for a long time. So it's good that you can get out at all a little bit. It makes such a difference to our brains. Even the cats, even in winter, they want to go out in the catio a little bit, even if it's just a little bit, a couple of times a day. And they ask us to open the window so they can go out and sit in the porch just for a short while, nowhere near as long as they do in summer, but you notice they still want to go outside and sniff the air a little bit, even when it's really, really cold. At least they want you to open the window ajar a little bit so they can sniff the cold air and sit there and just... Soot really likes weather. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, if it's raining but it's not, you know, super, super cold or anything like that, she will want to sit outside in the catio under the... There's a little metal roof on a little small part of it and not the whole thing, but she will want to sit out there and sort of listen to the rain, smell the rain, and her fur will be a little bit wet, but she just wants to sit out there all curled up into a ball and just enjoying the weather. And when it's windy as well, Embla will come straight back inside when the weather gets really bad, and Soot will go outside and look for the weather and just enjoy. I think she enjoys experiencing the feelings and the smells and the sounds associated with, you know, changing weather, like wind and rain and snow, and she just enjoys the different experiences, I think. She really likes it. I always thought she would come straight back inside, but no. Embla does like the snow though. She really likes to play with the snow and when it is snowing, and she has a really thick coat too, so I suppose that really helps. The knitting is just on you a tiny bit. You can handle a tiny bit. Look at this paw. Hey? Yes, if you keep falling asleep, your bum will fall out. I know, it's a horrible, horrible world. My lap is not big enough. How old are your kitties? Well, we used to have a really old one, and yeah, but she passed away last winter. And then there's Soot, who we got just before the pandemic, because Enya really imprinted on me, and Spouse wanted a cat who was a little bit more fond of them as well. So we got Soot. She came from a colony on an island off of Trondheim that they had just caught. So she's 2020, I think, so she'll be 4 years this year. Or she has already, you know, she already is 4 years old, getting grown up. And then after Enya passed, we wanted to help another baby again, so we found Embla from a hoarder situation, and she is just turned 2, or she will be 2 soon. No, I think she's just turned 2 years old, so she's still very young and very energetic, and very cute, and a little bit clumsy. Like, it's to the point where we wonder if there might be a tiny bit of neurological issues happening. You know, you've seen those wobbly cats online that sort of struggle. She's not on that level at all, like not even close. Like, she can walk in a straight line and no worries, but she's a little bit clumsy, more than we are used to from a cat. And she kind of will snuggle you and miss, that kind of thing, and it's a very consistent thing. And we talked to the vet about it, and they were like, yeah, I kind of see what you mean, but I don't think it's an issue. Like, it's such a low level that it's not a worry, so long as it isn't getting worse. So she's just 2 years old, so she will just now, in theory, you know, statistically, start to calm down. She's been in kitten crazy mode, having a good time running around in and out of the catio and up and down the stairs, and hiding under blanket forts. They really love having that. How do you spell non-Soot name? Embla. That is a it's a Norwegian. Let's see if I can write. Embla. It's a Norwegian female name, and it's also one of the mythological Askvembla, which are the first two humans of Norse mythology, are they not, technically? And they were made from trees, like ash and elm, I think, are the translations. So in a way, Embla means elm, I think. I might be getting my mythology a bit wrong. And Sut was actually supposed to be short for Susuvatari, you know, the adorable little critters from Spirited Away in Ghibli. But Sut kind of stayed, the shortening kind of stuck around, so it just became Sut. And Sut and Sot are Norwegian and English mean the same thing, and there's just one O difference, so I find that funny because I like that it's the same in Norwegian and English. Hi, am I talking too much for your nap? Yeah, I know. It's a hard life. I had exercises assigned by a physical therapist, but I was much younger and I felt like I couldn't say I was struggling, so I just pretended I was fine and I was able to do them when I had follow-ups. Yeah, it can be hard, can't it, to do those exercises every day. I don't really like exercises where I have to lay down on the floor. I don't know why, but I struggle with those. And so I've tried, like, if I'm having breaks, like I have my computer set up that it tells me to take a break every 50 minutes that I'm working, then I have a 10-minute break. So every hour I try to take a 10-minute break where I'm stretching and moving, and sometimes I will put music on my headphones and try to sort of dance some of the exercises, like I'm trying to do some of the kind of movements while I'm dancing, and it's not correct, but I'm hoping it does something because I find it easier than actually physically laying down on the floor. I don't know, sometimes I just don't want to lay down on the floor, so I just stay on my legs and I just try to do something that looks like those exercises sometimes. But yeah, it can be really hard to do those exercises. Like after I had a herniated disc in my back, I got assigned some exercises, 3 times a day, do these exercises, and you try for a long time, in addition to a lot of walks to massage the hip area and get things back to being less painful again. And yeah, it's the consistency can be difficult if you don't have a habit to glue it to, which really helps, which is why I try to glue things to those 10-minute breaks that I get throughout the workday, because then I actually do it. But it's always a struggle to build those habits and keep them, because so you just want to finish doing a thing and then stuff happens, and then yeah, it can be a challenge. They're young babies. We joke that our cat is bad at cat math because sometimes she misses when jumping onto a surface. Yeah, Embla does exactly the same thing. Or she'll slip. So there's a lot more, hunter and lean and will get what she wants and very tenacious. But yeah, they're both just young babies. Enya was the old one. And she was called Enya from the shelter. But she was 12 when we adopted her, and we got to have her for 4 wonderful years. I hoped it would be more, but she was the old lady of the house, and now we just have 2 young ones. But we love them very much. They are very good kitties. I will do some exercises on my bed. That is a very good idea. I hear a lot of people doing that, and then I have intensive doing it, and then I fall asleep and I forget about it. But I think it would help if I could try to establish some habits either in the morning or the evening to do that, because that would really help. Madam, that is my stitch marker. That is not a toy for you. It's also stuck to my knitting needles, so there's that. Sometimes she will lie on my lap when I'm working, and if I've been working on a script and then I'm going to record a voiceover or something like that, and I've been quiet up until now, editing and preparing and doing all that, and then I will suddenly start warming up my voice and reading the voiceover and the script, She will be so insulted because you are interrupting her nap and she's been enjoying the peace and quiet, and then she'll usually up and leave. But if I'm talking throughout, when she gets down, she's kind of used to me talking, and then she will stay throughout it. But if it's a change, then she might be like, no, I want peace and quiet for my nap. You ever have that where your animal just looks at you and you feel judged? You did something that displeased them. And they're like, hello, why? Why are we not doing it like this? This is the way that it's supposed to be done. Like bedtime. Cats can be really strict about bedtime if they get used to you doing it a certain way. And they will look at you like, hello, the routine is off. It is very, very cute. A lot of our friends never really see the cats though, because they are a bit shy about strangers. Embla is very curious though. She will pop out and it doesn't take too long because she just wants to see what is going on. She doesn't really want to approach, but she'll be curious about what's going on and find some sort of safe vantage point somewhere and stare at people. I really hope that we'll be able to do some of those cat shelves that we see, so that we can really give them spaces that are really high up under the ceiling, so that they can sit and look at the rest of the people and feel really safe from up there. That would be really, really fun. Maybe in the workroom too, have some shelves where the cats can hang out and look at what I'm doing. Have to go, see you next time? Well, good luck, Tvian. Nice to hang out. Hope you have a good one. Let's see. Not the most productive live stream I ever did do, but a very cozy one. But that is something with these big shawls, that when they get so big that it takes you a long time to do even one row. Even one row is progress, and you'll get there in the end. Whereas in the beginning you can do multiple rows, no problem, in half an hour, because it's just so fast. But I still really like these triangular shawls because I really like how they grow from a central point and then just keep going. There are some lovely rectangular ones as well, but I have this love for triangular one. Maybe I should try to make a half circle one. That would be really pretty as well. Floofy tail alert, yes. She's not the most floofy, but she's a very good floof. But that is just compared to Embla, who is very impressively floofy. And since you've been snoozing for a while and haven't begged for snackies, if I get to finish this needle, I shall get you some. Unless you leave me by then, I guess. Farewell. Cats are really loving. At least they're not afraid of moving boxes. I know some cats, especially rescues, can be very afraid of moving boxes because they have trauma associated with it. But our cats just find it really intriguing because there's something new happening in their house, and they get to sit on top of the castles of boxes and be very tall and explore everything. So they love it. And like every day there's new additions to the castles and they can be even taller than before. They've been having a lot of fun with that. So we've started putting like some of the cat beds like on top of the piles of boxes so that they can be even taller but in a cat bed, and they've been really taking to that. It's been a lot of fun to see. But they both just like exploring and seeing what is going on and all of the stuff. Usually I do my bed exercises while reading, so I don't fall asleep while I'm doing them. That is really clever. I had never thought about that I could use something like that to try to make the thing enjoyable. Like how sometimes we will put a game or a Kindle or something, like reading a book on the phone while doing an exercise is a really clever way to attach. I know some people manage to do exercising while playing games, or that they watch a certain TV series only when doing a certain exercise, which is really clever, that whole stacking and rewiring your brain to associate something with something else so that it's positive. Like a lot of people, you know, like I heard about this professor of habit stuff who noticed that their balance was getting a bit bad, so they started standing on one leg for 30 seconds every time they brushed their teeth, and then they would change to the other leg, and they would change back, and they would change again, so that for 2 minutes that they were brushing their teeth, they would balance for a minute on each side. And then they noticed that as soon as they sort of, the brain worked that association in, it kind of kept doing it. Like anytime they were holding something, they started standing on one leg, which was a bit funny, but it's so interesting how the brain will start associating one activity with something else if you manage to start stacking habits, which can be really helpful if you want to do a thing that you don't have any previous habit of doing. That's why I try to do my morning walk sort of first thing in the morning. Like I'll take my meds and I'll go for a walk and then have my breakfast when I come back, because then everything is already done. Like I've done my walk already. And then you don't have stuff in the evening or appointments or things like that going on. Yeah, habit stacking can be so useful. It can be very difficult to set up in the beginning, especially if your brain does not like habits. Mine luckily does like habits, so I'm very lucky in that regard. But that really helps for me, that, you know, the medication is the first thing that happens, and then everything else, which depends on the kind of meds that you take. But I don't know, what else do I do that is habit stacked? I mean, brushing my teeth is the obvious one, but it used to be when I was younger that when I put my hair up in a ponytail or I braided it, but usually a ponytail specifically, I was getting serious about studying, and I used that in university when I needed to work, because I had somehow subconsciously established that habit, and it just worked. It just made me feel more, I don't know, focused. And then you just want to lean into those things and use them for what they're worth, because if a habit is there, it's good. And then I started noticing that when I was editing, I was growing the same association with wearing my headphones. And that when I put my headphones on, I was like, I'm in work mode now. Now we're working. And if I tried to edit something where I didn't need to listen to what I was doing, if I didn't put my headphones on, I didn't get into work mode in the same way. It's really strange how those accidental associations start getting formed without you noticing, and then if you accidentally break it because you didn't realize it was there, you're like, huh, this feels really weird. Do any of you have that as well? Because I find that really, really interesting. Wait, did we put this in the wrong place this time? No, I think it's the correct one. Made me scared for a moment. You're not paying enough attention to what you're doing. Anyway, I hope your summer has been alright, survivable, manageable. I know it's very warm in a lot of places, but have a good time, everyone. Our old dog needs to go out. Have a good one. Have a good walk with the old friend. Have a, like, it's a kind of sad, it's really sad that we're moving because we have really, really nice landlords. They're super nice. They're like, anytime something is not working, they will almost scold us for not having told them before, and then they fix it straight away. They're amazing. And they have a dog that if they are traveling, they ask us to mind her, and she just lives in her kennel outside, and she has a heated inside space, and she gets really cozy. And then she has an armchair outside in the in her kennel where she sits, and she'll look at everyone all summer long, you know, just enjoying the sun and everything. And we will go for walks together when I'm watching her, and it's just so lovely. Like, she's just happy to be alive and happy to see you, happy to go for a walk, happy that you're hanging out. She's just so cute. Like, dogs just love life, I feel like. Hi. But cats are very adorable too. We love our little kitties. Did you want something? Hi. Is the cat tower out of food again? I shall have to look into that when I come downstairs. Oh, your fur is wet. You've been outside in the catio. Did you see the birds? The magpies? I have it, but mostly with mobile games. Yeah, I can see that habit being established quickly. The dangers of crafting and talking, definitely. Trying to do something that is relatively easy, but not so easy that you can't pay attention at all. It's in that zone where I might be making mistakes. But hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be alright. This one I am at least intending to keep for myself, although I have a bad habit of saying that I'm making something for me, and then when I'm done I end up giving it to someone else, and my spouse will scold me for it. So at the moment this shawl is intended for me. Which is also why it's getting down prioritized and worked on, like, in small bursts here and there. But it's nice to have a project that you can pick up and put down at will and come back to, that is just kind of low stakes, hanging out, not a big complex project or a project with a hefty deadline. You can just work on it when you feel like it, like with this pouch as well, and this project, that I can just work on it when I want to. It's a bit freeing in a way. Not everything has to have a deadline, and that is very nice. It's so lovely and rare to have healthy landlords. I hope you can potentially stay friendly with them and the dog. Yeah, I think so. They're really nice people, and yeah, we feel incredibly lucky. Like, I've had decent landlords, like completely nice and fair, but these are exceptional. Like, it's so strange. It feels like such a luxury, which is sad because everyone should have landlords like these. Like, these people are amazing. But we are about to have ads, so Madam, tail. Which means hydration break. Hello? Did you want something? I did promise you a snacky, didn't I? Let's see. Hi. Is this what you want? Oh, yes. In old jam jars, because this tenacious madam is a master of breaking into any kind of snack bags. And a tall one? That's a tall madam. Very good. I'm not getting ads for some reason. Some people don't. It's based on geolocation and, like, if people are paying for your region and target audience and all sorts of things. So not all people get them, but we just try to take a break regardless, because we try to learn that breaks are good and healthy and normal. And yeah, so not everyone gets break, but there is a chance that you might get an ad. And since that is one of the ways in which I get paid to continue making content for you, people are really genuinely supporting the channel if you happen to get an ad. Pardon. So it seems really unfair in a way to continue talking and have people miss out on content because they get an ad. Like, that is a bit, I don't know, sad. So we just try to take a break, chill out for a moment, have some water. Sometimes if Sud is snoozing on my lap, we'll do a little kitty break. But you don't miss out on content, which is important to me as much as I can. If I notice the ad break, I found some tools that let me actually see when it's coming up, which is super helpful. So it's just kind of a way to try to respect the people that in a very real way help support the channel, because that is the one thing a lot of people are struggling financially right now. Like, times are tight, inflation is insane, people are cutting wherever they can, including subscriptions and luxury items like Patreon, and I totally get it. And people may want to feel like they want to support the channel, but they can't afford it and they feel bad. Don't feel bad. If you get ads in the beginning of a video, it's okay if you skip them. Like, it doesn't affect it, but it still supports the channel. Like, you can live with that security that you are supporting the channel and you are supporting my work and my ability to continue making videos if you get ads on videos. So if people have been feeling bad because they can't afford to support me more, know that I'm still really grateful that you're here, because that still helps. Everything helps. And take care of yourself first, you know, remember that. Pay all the bills first, and ideally put some in saving. Like, I like the saying that is sort of pay the bills, pay yourself, which is saving, and then spend what is left over. But that depends on, you know, having the flexibility and the income to be able to do that. But I have always been lucky enough to have a roof over my head. And again, we talked about food security and rice and lentils and stuff like that. And I've always been able to have food, even though sometimes it's not the most exciting food, but it fills your belly at least. So there is food available. So I've been very lucky in that regard. And I know some people don't have that. So don't worry. It's important for me that the content stays free and open on YouTube, even if it's like earlier on Patreon. I still want videos and content, and especially the research videos and the crafty videos, to be available for everyone, no matter their financial situation, because it can be so devastating when you feel like, when you're a student and it seems like everyone else is out partying, or they go to cafes and they hang out and they have lunch and they do whatever, and you can't afford that. It can be quite isolating. So to at least have something that you can engage in with no monetary attachment can be really important, so that we all can have spaces that we can hang out that are positive. At least I hope so. We try to make it so. Do you have a Patreon, Kristine? I do indeed. I have a small Patreon of very lovely people, and we also have a Discord, which is in the link in the description. Let me be real advertisey for a moment and link to both of them. Let's see where I can find them. So there is our Discord where we hang out and we chat, and the Discord is open to everyone. Like, there is a little Patreon section where I put early access to stuff, but it's still open and free for everyone, because I wanted people to have a place to hang out, because I find that a lot of times we don't have that, like a safe space for everyone. But that is our Discord. And then we also have, because I am the streamer, I can post links. You can't. Sadly, YouTube will block you to protect from the spam, and that is not something I can turn off. They do not like the ads. And then the Patreon is over here. Sometimes ads produce in me an unreasonable rage, but I also like to support content creators, so I'll just mute them. That's a good way of doing it. Spouse also really disliked ads, so they ended up paying for YouTube, the premium thing. It's the one streaming service that we have. We don't have anything else. But we have premium, which I do enjoy it for the music, having the YouTube Music app. So we have that because you can have several accounts on one, so it's just one subscription and they pay for it. So I haven't had ads for a while, which is a luxury, and then you get sort of a cut of YouTube premium income instead. So that is the one subscription that we have, but I understand it. We are not used to watching ads. Again, like a lot of the times if we watch something, it probably be on YouTube, or we are old school and we do DVDs, so we are not used to ads. And then we'll visit friends or family where, you know, the TV does that thing where it's just running in the background all day long, because that is just their norm. The TV is just there no matter what you're doing. If you're having dinner, if you're hanging out, the TV is just on. I'm sure a lot of you also have friends or family like that who do that, where the TV is just a constant companion running around. When I had grandparents, it would be the radio, but for like the older but younger than grandparents, at least in my line, it might be the TV instead. Although and it's just always running, and we are always so flabbergasted by the amount of ads. My goodness. And the weirdness of some ads, I don't know. I feel like I know very little about marketing. This is not my forte at all, but sometimes it seems like as long as it's memorable, as long as it raises brand awareness, that is a win. Even if it's super weird, even if it's super awkward. Just a lot of the radio ads, because sometimes if I'm driving the car, I'll turn on the radio if it's just a bit of a drive. They'll be really sexist, and I'm just like, what is this? Did I just go 20 years back in time? But no, it's just that I'm not used to seeing ads all the time, and whenever I'm exposed to them, I'm very baffled. They are so interesting. Yeah, it's such a wide variety of ads out there. Sometimes I have to applaud their creativity. Some of them are really good, but a lot of the time they are really strange. But thank you for asking. I forget that people don't always realize that I have a Patreon, and I am not very good about advertising. Speaking of advertising it. Although I try to mention it in videos regularly. But I'm not as good as many other creators about that. I should probably work on that. Room for improvement in all aspects. I keep seeing a really odd baby diaper ad on YouTube. I don't even have human children. I'm a fur mom. Yeah, same. We also do not have children. We just have the fur babies. Yeah, some ads are just really... I'm just like, you have the wrong target audience here, but I guess this works on other people. Sometimes it seems like it is just brand awareness, like they're not necessarily getting the click straight away, they just want you to know that they're there, which I do get aware of. And I mean, ads do work, or they wouldn't be spending so much money on them, so I mean, they do. I think I was talking to a fellow content creator, and they had been to a conference where they got to talk to advertisers about the rate of return that they expected when they pay YouTubers, at least like and content creators, to do sponsorships. And they were talking about like a 10 times rate of return. Like if they spent $1,000 on a sponsorship, they would expect to be making 10,000 in sales or subscriptions or something else, or a service, which I found really interesting because I'd never really, like, you know about sponsorships, that sponsorships are a thing, but what is the math and the strategy from the agency and the marketing agency's side And so it was really interesting that they had specifically that number, that they were looking to get 10 times return on investments for their advertising money, which is really interesting. One time Cadbury put an ad on a video revealing their trade secret on how they made one of their chocolates. Like, maybe not the best videos to endorse. Yeah, sometimes that can be challenging, isn't it? Like, we talked about this earlier. I think it was Lynn who mentioned that they got a Shane ad on my live stream, because I mean, I'm in the textile space, so we get a lot of fast fashion ads because we are in the crafting and textile industry, which is interesting because our target audience is kind of not the most shopping hungry audiences of them all. Like, I hear that content creators in the tech field and gaming field get really high returns on their like ads on per view, because like cent per view per thousand or whatever the return is, because they have audiences that are ready to buy. No, I think gaming was really bad because gaming is a lot of young people who don't really have money of their own, whereas tech was really, really high. Like, you can get some insane rates because if people are looking for a review on a product, they're kind of sitting there ready to buy. But the crafting industry is a lot lower than that because we just like to hang out and chill and have a good time. I absolutely could not use free Spotify for those radio style ads. They make me want to throw my headphones out the window. Yeah, I can hear that. We had to buy this little Bluetooth thingy adapter because Norway stopped using the FM network for the reasons. And the digital radio is what they use instead. And my phone doesn't really connect really well, so it gets really scratchy when I try to connect my music. So sometimes if I have to take the drive and I can't just put my headphones on and grab a bus, I will put the radio on, but it happens rarely, so I don't get too impatient. But if I had to do it every day, I would get really fed up with it because it's the same ad over and over and over again as well. And that also gets interesting, in addition to the same music. I know they probably didn't put it on there themselves, but it's really funny. Yeah, sometimes the pairing of the ad to the content can be interesting, to say the least, in this wild space that is YouTube and sort of user-generated or content and like individuals making stuff and not just corporations, which in many ways is really, really cool. I really enjoy the channels where I get to see people from the other side of the world and how they live and what they eat, what they do in a day, how they live, how they think, how they feel about certain topics. I just think it's really nice, and you can get that now with smartphones and the internet in a way that isn't curated through a big company with their own agendas and their own politics attached to it. You can just get it from one person to another, which I think is really, really nice. Probably my favorite thing about the internet is that potential for connection, for all the negative potential that it has to that, you know, one-on-one. I think it's really powerful. You can see how other people live their life. It makes me furious that podcasts still have tons of ads on paid Spotify. Oh, really? I did not know that. I have never paid for Spotify. So, like when I was a student, I couldn't afford it, so I tolerated the ads. But yeah, that seems like an interesting loophole. It seems like more and more streaming services are also starting to add like tiered things where they are trying to get like, if you have the basic service, you still get some ads, but you have to pay premium to get no ads. And I'm like, this is taking a really interesting turn, and it seems like we are just reinventing cable all over again, where, you know, streaming services are starting to collaborate and offer packages, and then there are ads after all, even though you pay, and it's like, you seem like you are recreating the thing that you claimed not to be, which is an interesting trend that seems to be happening to a lot of industries. Like, you get industry rebels, and then over time, as they get more and more professional, they also start to get more and more similar to to the thing that they were originally being the change against, which is an interesting like loop with business that is really strange. A lot of podcasts have mid-roll ads done by the podcasters themselves, like it's embedded in the podcast, not just added on by Spotify. Yeah, that's interesting that they do that and also have the ads on Spotify. Ads are such a big, strange topic. Like, it's such a huge thing. I have free Spotify specifically for podcasts and don't get ads unless the podcaster does it. And yeah, interesting. I use this thing called, what is it? Pocket Cast, I think, the app on my phone to do that, to give me podcasts. And I also just get the ads that the podcast sort of put in there or slot in for you to hear. Have a good one, Catherine. I hope you have a good second breakfast. And we have been going on for, well, I think 2 hours despite technical difficulties. So I think we shall also be starting to pack up and get ready for yet another exciting day of packing and tidying house at the same time. And maybe we shall end the day with a little bit more kitty cam with the screen. Look, there we are. What are we doing, huh? I just remembered a TV ad for a hair conditioner where the premise was you wanna get yourself a man, the best look girl in your friend group with our product. Be the best looking girl in your friend group with our product. I was like, excuse you? Yeah, I can understand that. That is a really strange heteronormativity and internalized misogyny. Really? Yeah. I noticed that as well, especially with radio ads, if I'm driving the car, that there is so much internalized misogyny, like sexism, like really flat out, just stereotypes, and yeah, a lot of heteronormativity, a lot of what is it? Not planned incompetence, but that weaponized incompetence. It is, people hating on their spouses and their family for no good reason. Ads make me a bit sad. They're so hurtful in many ways. But we have a purring kitty, and that is a much better place to end the day. Can you hear the purring kitty? I wonder if I lean close with my microphone. I'm late, but I'm here now. Oh, I'm sorry, Catbo. We were just wrapping up, but I'm glad to see you. I hope you have a good time we are listening to. Oh, you can hear the purrs. There are a little bit of purrs. She's such a good little lady. And she does have a very lovely purr. Embla has a louder purr, but Soot has a very, very good little purr. Huh? But yeah, thank you for hanging out with me. It was a lovely time, as always. I really look forward to these every week. It's such a restful way to hang out with the community. So reminder, coming Thursday, so the 29th, there will be no stream because we will have the moving truck coming and there will be no furniture left in the evening, so there will be no stream next week. I don't know about the first week of September, because we don't know if we will have internet by then and if the workroom will be set up enough by then. I hope. I might be a little bit too optimistic to hope that we will manage to stream again after just 1 week off with such a big move, but I will let you know on the Discord whether or not we manage to do the beginning of September or not. But next week, definitely not able to, because things will be crazy. But yeah, lovely to see you, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, rest of your week, rest of the month in this case, and stay safe out there. Remember to hydrate and cuddle your fur babies if you happen to spend some time with one. And yeah, see you all next time, and have a good one. Bye.